So today I'm going to show you how to construct a scatter plot. Yesterday we talked about how to read them, how to interpret them. We talked about relationships between variables. Now I'm going to show you how to construct one, how to make one. They're pretty simple, and if you've ever made a line graph before, it's very similar. Again, a scatter plot is a type of graph that plots a set of data on a coordinate plane. You can use a scatter plot to compare the points to determine if there's a relationship. A pattern of data points shows a trend or correlation. So what I'd like you to do for this is take out a piece of graph paper, and I'd like you to construct a scatter plot with me. So your notes that you'll bring to class tomorrow will have a scatter plot, this completed scatter plot. I'm just going to make it right along with me. So I'm going to make one, and I want you to pay attention to how I think aloud, how I actually construct, and the decision that I make along the way. All right? So get a piece of graph paper ready. Feel free to pause the video, if you need time to make your parts of your scatter plot, and unpause them when you're ready. All right, so look at this data. The data we have is showing the average and maximum longevity of various animals in captivity. So we're going to make a scatter plot to see if there's a relationship between the average age of an animal in a zoo or a captivity, maybe an animal sanctuary or something, or maybe a circus, and we're going to look at the maximum age that animal lives. Now, we don't know which animal is which. For example, this could be a dog I'm looking. So the average age of a dog would be 8 years. Most dogs a little bit more than that. And then the longest living dog might be 20 years in captivity, okay? So we're going to see if there's a relationship. Like I said, I don't know what these animals are. You can probably guess. Your guess is as good as mine. So what are we going to do? Well, you might be able to see I do have some grid lines here. I've got my y-axis. In fact, I'm going to go over this in a dark color so you can see it. My y-axis and my x-axis. All right. Now it doesn't matter which variable I put on which, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick. This is going to be my average age, and I'm going to label it. I want all your axes to have labels when you're making a scatter plot. So this will be my other variable, which is the maximum age for these animals. So I'm going to call this max age. Okay? So first thing I did was I labeled my axis. All graphs need a title. So I need a title for my scatter plot. I'm going to call this comparison of average versus maximum age. Comparison of average versus maximum age, and I'm going to be a little more descriptive, of animals in captivity. Okay? So my title is going to help my reader know exactly what this graph is all about. Would it be enough for me to just say average versus maximum? No. Your reader would be confused. What are we talking about? Average what? Maximum what? So make your title as descriptive as possible. There's lots of good titles other than this one, but you do want to try to make it descriptive. Okay, now I'm ready for the hard part. That's the easy part. The hard part is deciding what to count by. So I'm going to show you the thought process in which I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to look at my average ages. I'm going to find my scale first of all. So the smallest number I have is 8, and the largest number I have looks to be 41. Okay, so my scale is 8 to 41. So I have to come up with intervals now. Intervals is what I'm going to count by. And I can't just decide, oh, I like 5, so I'm going to count by 5s. I like 2s, so I'm going to count by 2s. I have to consider two things. One, my scale. I'm going from 8 to 41, so I have to cover all the numbers from 8 to 41. The second thing to consider is the ideal number of intervals. The ideal number of intervals would be 4 to 9. I want to have between 4 to 9 intervals. That means 4 to 9 numbers here. For example, if I had 20, that would just take too long. It would be too hard for my reader to consider that many points. Same thing, if I only have 1 or 2, it wouldn't be enough. So 4 to 9 is the ideal sweet spot, if you will, for the number of intervals. So I could start with 0. All good graphs actually start with 0, okay? But I could use a break. For example, if my first number was somewhere, like in the hundreds, then I would probably have a break in my graph. I can talk more about that later. So take a guess. What do you think I should count by? Are 2s okay? If I were to count by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I'm already at 9 intervals, and I'm only at 18. I have to go all the way to 40. So do you see how I'm trying to decide here? What about 5? Do you think 5s would be okay? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Am I still in the sweet spot? Yes, I could count by 5. If I count by 5s, I'll have 9 intervals. What about 10s? Would 10s be okay? Let's see. If I count by 10, I have 10, 20, 30, 40. I have to go to 50. Am I still in the sweet spot? Yes. 5 intervals is still in that ideal range. So counting by 5s or counting by 10s is ideal. What about counting by 20s? Let's check. So I have to go 20, 40, 60. I only have 3. So that's not enough. I want between 4 and 9. So I'm going to go ahead and count by 10 to make this as easy as possible. So here's 0. I can actually skip 2 lines. I have plenty of lines on my grid. I can count 10. Here's 20, 30, 40, and I'm going to go up to 50 just so I can cover that 41. So I counted by 10s. I have 5 intervals. I'm counting by 5s because I left a space, but I'm not going to write all those in. Okay? Now I have to do the same thing for the maximum years. So I'm going to look for the lowest number. It looks like that's 20, and my highest number is 77. So I have to make sure my range, my scale, 20 to 77, I have to make sure my intervals cover all those. What do you think? What do you think I should count by? I have to cover 20 to 77. Pause the video and think about it. Unpause when you're finished. What do you think I should count by? Hopefully you said 10s again. 10s would be the easiest thing. If I count by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I'm right. I've got 8 intervals. Perfect. 5s. If I counted by 5s, if you said 5s, think about it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. I'm only at 45 and I'm getting past the ideal number of intervals. So 5 is too small. Would 20 be okay? 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah, 20 is okay. It only gives me 4 intervals. So I'm going to count by 10. Hopefully that helps you understand how to choose what to count by. Okay, so I'm going to count by 10s. And do I have enough space? Let me see if I have enough space here. 10, 20, 30, 40. I don't have enough space this time to skip lines. So I'm going to have to use every line. 10, 20, 30, 40. Again, if I'm talking too quickly or going too fast for you to make your scatter plot, feel free to pause the video and you can add to yours and then unpause when you're caught up. Okay, all right, now I'm ready to put the dots in, which is a pretty easy final step. Notice what I have so far. Got a title. I've got label on the X, label on the Y. I've got my intervals on the X and my intervals on the Y. Now I'm ready to put in my dots. Make sure you have all these parts. So now I'm going to put in the data. So this animal, whatever it is, its average age was 12 years, its maximum age is 47. So I'm going to find 12, I'll use a different color here. I'm going to find 12, which is approximately here, and 47 on my y-axis, which is approximately here. Okay, I can't get an exact because I'm counting by tens. This animal, 25 was his average, 50 is his maximum, 25 would be right in the middle, 50 is right on the line there, that was an easy one. 15 and 40, so 15 is right in the middle, and 40 right here. Okay, we're going to try to see now if there's a relationship between the average age and the maximum age of these animals in captivity. 8 and 20, 8 I'm going to have to approximate right around here, and 20, somewhere around there. 35 and 70, okay, I can do that. 35 is right in the middle, 70 would be here. 40 and 77, 40 and 77, I'm going to have to approximate that right around there. It's getting into my title a little bit, that's okay. 41 and 61, 41 and 61 would be about there, almost on that corner. 20 and 54, so 20 and 54 would be around there. Okay, and I plotted all my points. You can double check that I got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I got 8 dots. My scatter plot is finished. I'm now able to determine if there's a trend. Is there a relationship between the average age of animals and the maximum age? And that answer you can hopefully see is yes. There is a positive relationship between the average and maximum age of animals in captivity. So you can see as the average age increases, the maximum age also increases. And there's a positive trend or relationship there. Okay, hopefully you understand how I constructed that scatter plot. Bring all this with you tomorrow with your completed scatter plot, and we will practice constructing again in class. See you then.